What's crackalacking, guys? I'm a Duck Quack here, and welcome back to another investment video on marquee matchups. So we're going to be looking at the games that are probably going to be released on Thursday. We've got no international games this week, so I can't see any early releases on this time round. So the first game we're going to be looking at is straight over to the Premier League, and it's the huge London derby between Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur. Now, if we're going to be looking at investing in these guys, it's obviously going to be gold players that we're going for. And it's obviously going to be players in key positions. Now, we're not going to be picking up anyone like Dembele because why would we ever spend that much on a player? What we want to be doing instead is looking at picking up players like Vorm, players that are very cheap but also carry a decent rating. So you've got Janssen, you've got Wimmer, you've got Davies, you've got Vorm. They're all under 1,000 coins. Getting anybody for discard in this is going to be extremely difficult. But the reason that these are so good is Son has a chance at Player of the Month, so these are going to carry double value there. And the Kane SBC is still out, so they're still going to have some sort of value. Just make sure that you're smart and you're picking up all kinds of different players. The same goes for Arsenal. If we have a look there, picking up players for this cheap for Arsenal may be a little bit more challenging, but you've still got a few. You've still got Elneny and Ospina who are coming in this cheap. If you believe this game's going to be in there, I would advise going just that little bit bigger if you need to. If you've got this, you've got Chamberlain at about 1,200-1,300. You massively increase the kind of players that you can pick up. And if the marquee matchups are anything like they've been for the past 2 weeks, where Team of the Week pack's been rewarded, then you're going to make huge profit on these investments. And personally, I can see EA doing the same kind of thing. If it's not a Team of the Week pack, potentially even a Team of the Knockout stage player, it could be anything ridiculous like that. If it's Team of the Season, it could be a Team of the Season player. You never know. Marquee matchups just seem like such a good thing to invest in at the moment. Okay, guys, so the second match we're going to look at here is going to be Besiktas against Fenerbahce. Now, if we're doing exactly the same kind of research here, you can see that the gold players you can literally pick up for discard. So there's such little risk involved in investing in these kind of teams. Now, just be smart with who you're picking up, what price you're picking them up for, and everything like that. For example, I say this every time, and I'll keep saying it. If you're not sure on the formation they're going to use, which we can never be, why would we be picking up left backs, right backs, left mids, right mids, when we could be picking up centre backs, centre mids, CDMs, goalkeepers, strikers, all those kind of players that are going to be guaranteed to need a position in here. Now, also be aware of the nation. Sometimes they have nation requirements where you need X players from a certain nation, usually the one that the league's in, or X players from different places. Just cover every angle and just make sure you're smart with who you pick up. Right, guys, so the third match we're going to look at here is going to be Nice against PSG. Now, this is a slightly harder one to invest in just because PSG is quite a big club. So picking up the gold players for around discard value becomes a lot more challenging. Now, we have Maxwell and we have Meunier, but they're both fullbacks. If we get very unlucky, which I don't see happening, but it could, and they include a formation without fullbacks, our investments are suddenly a lot less valuable to us. We do have Guedes, but he's only a 77 rated centre forward, and he's Portuguese, which, if you need different nations, again, makes it very hard to link into. I'm not saying don't invest in these guys, because if PSG Nice comes in and you need 2 players from each, you can make an absolute killing. But if you're smart, if you keep sniping players, if you keep looking around, you will find different options. Now, when you get to a matchup like this with PSG and Nice, if we have a look here, the amount of options we've got is absolutely tons and tons and tons. Do you remember the Barcelona-Real Madrid game? Barcelona players kind of capped at about 2,500, 3,000. Real Madrid players about 3,000. Barcelona players were about 8,000, 9,000 upon release. This is where we make most of our money, choosing which side to invest in. Now, if you're only getting players solely for investment purposes, then unless they do 2 players from both teams, then we're much better off investing in the stronger team. So say the requirements were 2 players from Nice and PSG, 2 from each. Then if we pick up all of Nice players, we're not going to make as much as if we pick up all PSG players. Just because PSG players are a lot rarer, there's a lot fewer of them that fall into the cheaper bracket, etc, etc. This is where we can get an edge on the competition and just make our money go a little bit further. Right, guys, so the last game we're going to look at is going to be in the Scottish Premiership. It's going to be Celtic against Rangers. Now, if we're investing here, we have several options. Personally, I wouldn't even bother investing in Celtic players. Now, the reason for this is, if we have a look here, we can see there's tons of gold players available for Celtic. They've got about 3 or 4 different golds, if not more. If we have a look at the silver players for Celtic as well, there's quite a few, and they're all fairly, as you can see, fairly expensive. We're going to be picking up gold players. Gold players are going to be the ones that are used the most. Gold ones are going to be pack loads by people. Hence, the supply is going to be probably close to a sufficient for the demand. Yes, the prices will rise, but not nearly as much as if we invest in Rangers players. Now, there's no gold players for Rangers. Is there any gold players for Rangers? I don't think there is. There may be 1. There's 2. 2. I was completely wrong. So there's 2 gold players for Rangers, but there's not nearly as many as there are for Celtic. If we're having a look at their silver players, however, they have an absolute ton of them, and we can be picking these up for extremely cheap. So if we have a quick search for like a max buy it now 450, you can see that only 1 player shows up apparently. We might as well buy them while we're here. They were a bit cheaper the other day when I started picking them up. They were about 200-300 that I was getting them for. If you're bidding on these guys though still, you will win a lot more bids than you would expect. Just because people aren't bidding. They're usually quite impatient. Most of the time they'll be jumping on, they'll just be doing what I did there, buying the cheapest buy it now. Whereas if we set some filters on here just for bidding, max price of 300, you can go through here and throw bids on all of these guys, pick them up for a bargain. If they're not needed, you're not going to be losing much money. It all depends on which of these marquee matchups you think are going to come in. So personally, I think the Arsenal-Tottenham one is very, very likely. I could also see, well, I could see the Rangers one being included, but they've used it before and it's a bit of a risk because the Rangers players went stupidly expensive then. If the team of the week player is the reward, then they're just going to become extinct within seconds, which would be fantastic for myself because I've just gone huge on it. I've gone for an all or nothing kind of gamble, but playing it safer, you've got all of those other options. Anyway, guys, going to end the video there. It's quite late here and I'm quite tired and I'm probably blubbering on. So if I missed any teams, make sure you drop them down below so we can chat about that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and thanks again, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.